Hi, so I'm just going to give a brief overview here of temporal philosophy and what exactly I'm working on and the scope that's involved in it. Um, I'll start out by giving a brief explanation of what logical and physical possibilities are. Basically, something's physically possible if it's possible in reality. For instance, it's not physically possible for a purple elephant to be dancing a jig in the corner of my room right now. Um, it is, however, logically possible. Something's logically possible if there is a situation in which it could be possible. So if elephants were purple and one was small enough in the corner of my room and happened to be dancing a jig, then that's a situation in which it could be true, and so it's a logical possibility. Um, so temporal philosophy deals strictly with logical possibility. We don't worry about the physical possibility. We don't worry about how an actual time machine could be made. We're only worried about whether or not time travel itself is possible, and what time could look like. Not necessarily what it is in reality, although we don't really know what it is in reality. Um, but yeah, okay. So temporal philosophy is mostly composed of two types of theories: theories of time and theories of time travel, which often commingle. A lot of the time, theories of time travel are used to explain theories of time. Um, but yeah, a theory of time is basically just a description and explanation of the nature of time, and a theory of time travel is basically an explanation of how time travel could be possible and how paradoxes could be prevented. Um, the most common example of a temporal paradox is the grandfather paradox, where you go back in time and kill your grandfather so he couldn't have your father couldn't have you, so you wouldn't be alive to go back in time and kill your grandfather. And so it goes on in circular fashion, unless you find some way around it, which is easier than you might think. But yeah, the most popular theory of time right now is a deterministic view, which basically follows the laws of causality, and that every cause is an effect of another cause. Every effect is a cause of another effect. Um, it Yeah, it's basically just a static view where nothing can change along a timeline. Because if something would change, it would break a causal chain, which, according to deterministic philosophers, is impossible. Um, the There's two leading theories of time travel at the moment. The weaker one, in my opinion, being the multiple universe theory, which basically says that if you go back in time, then you're actually traveling to a multiple or a different universe, a different reality. So anything that you do in that reality won't affect where you were in the reality that you came from. So it preserves free will. The problem that I have with it is that there's no real reason to say that the other reality exists. I've heard some quantum physicists talk about a multiple universe theory and how they could be related, but it still seems like a pretty big leap of faith. Um, the the other leading theory, the leading theory of time travel that, as far as I know, is the one-dimensional theory of time travel, which is deterministic theory, which basically says that when you go back in time, you will have already gone back in time. It, Anything that you do in the past has already been done before you leave to go to the past. So basically, if you tried to kill your grandfather, you wouldn't be able to. something would stop you from doing it. The like gun wouldn't fire, or you'd trip and break your leg or something like that. And there's there was two really good papers that I read about the one-dimensional deterministic theory of time and time travel. The one was David Lewis, who wrote The Paradoxes of Time Travel, and the other was Theodore Sider, who wrote Time Travel, Coincidences, and Counterfactuals. And yeah, David Lewis basically comes up with a new system of logic using counterfactuals, which allows for the one-dimensional deterministic theory of time and time travel while still preserving free will technically. But it still seems really counterintuitive to me. It's it's still, regardless of how it could possibly be explained, it just doesn't seem right that you just wouldn't be able to do something. It doesn't correspond with how we perceive reality, and so it's like that. I can't find any logical faults in the theory, but it just doesn't seem complete to me, which is which led me into the creation of Taylor's theory of time T3 and Taylor's theory of time travel T4, where it's semi-deterministic, I guess, but it still allows for random chance. It and it allows for you to go back in time on the same timeline that you're on and still make changes without affecting where you were at before you went back in time. But I'll get into that on another video. So for now, yeah, that's the basics of temporal philosophy. If you have any questions, let me know.